So, hello everybody. My name is Radu Vasiu. I'm from the Polytechnica University of Timisoara, President of the University Senate and Director of the Multimedia Learning Center. I'm involved in this conference mainly as Multimedia Center and one of the oldest, let's say, participants for distance education in our university, together with our mayor. I'm probably getting something from his speech already, but he will not mind, I hope. So I'm glad to hear so many friends, old friends here. Welcome everybody virtually in Timisoara. We'll start the opening session. And first of all, please let me introduce you some of the technical facilities. You can use the chat for saying hello and so on. But if you want to ask some specific questions and to receive some replies, please use question and answer Q&A on Zoom, and somebody will try to respond in real time. So it is for us a pleasure to have you all here, even that not face-to-face as we wanted. But welcome anyway. Please let me now start directly the speeches, the introduction, and I will start with the Mayor of Timisoara, Professor Nicolae Robu, ex-rector of the university, and also one of our oldest, let's say, in brackets, participants for distance education in the university. We shall have to excuse him because he has also a meeting of the local council after this, but he managed to be later then and to stay with us for the opening session. So, Lae, please, you have the floor.
Dear members of the EDTECH board, honored members of the EDTECH 2020 conference committees, dear participants to this conference. As Mayor of Timisoara, it is my great pleasure to welcome your presence to the 29th EDTECH conference held here in Timisoara. Unfortunately, the COVID-19 crisis forced the organizers to transform the conference into a complete online one. However, we intend to give you a taste of Timisoara by using the possibilities offered by the modern technologies such as virtual and augmented reality. We hope we will succeed. Timisoara is situated in the western part of Romania, in the Banat region, where 3 countries and several nationalities, languages, cultures, and customs peacefully intersect. At this time, Timisoara is an important economic and social metropolis with many multinational companies and well-known academic and cultural institutions. The city of Timisoara produces the second value of GDP in Romania, after Bucharest, of course, and achieves a highest rate of development in our country. But Timisoara means not only economic activity, but also remarkable social and cultural life. The past and the present meet in this 700 years old city, a very European one. A medieval citadel, Baroque monuments, and attractive modern buildings complete a wonderful site. Numerous parks and the river Bega, with its romantic bridges and sites, are just some of the admirable features of this city. Movie halls, theaters, clubs, bars and restaurants, sport facilities, and local festivals offer lots of possibilities to spend your spare time in this beautiful town. Probably some of you already know that Timisoara was granted the chance to be European Capital of Culture in 2021. We already worked hard for this, and Polytehnica University of Timisoara was one of our key partners in developing cultural applications built around modern technologies. I am sure that some of them will be presented to you during the conference. I have to thank Eden for choosing Timisoara to host this conference. I also have to say that Eden is still very close to my heart. Some of you might remember that Polytechnica University is one of the first members of Eden. I certainly remember, as was vice rector of the university at the time of founding the Distance Education Center in Timisoara and joining Eden from its beginning. Then, as rector of the university between 2004 and 2012, I was happy to strengthen the links between UPT and Eden and to encourage the use of technology-enhanced learning, which proved its full benefits during the actual crisis. I wish success to the works of the conference. I hope you will be able to exchange ideas and good practices examples during the video conference sessions and will find new ways to provide high quality education despite the sometimes unhappy circumstances. I am also convinced that between sessions, you will be able to enjoy some online virtual social program that will give you a taste of Timisoara and Romania. I hope this will encourage you to visit us again physically in better times during the year of Timisoara, European Capital of Culture. Enjoy your conference and all the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. And we are very glad that you were able to be here. And whenever you will have some time, you can join the channel and see some presentations from the conference. There are some very interesting keynote speeches and papers. Thank you very much and good luck to your meeting.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All the best.
Now we are passing to the organizers, the Polytechnica University of Timisoara, and I would ask the rector of the university, Professor Florin Dragan, to give you some words from the part of the university. Florin, please.
Hi, Radu, thank you very much. Hi, everyone. Dear participants, guests, and friends, for the beginning, I want to say that it is a great pleasure for me to say welcome to you at the Eden Conference, organized by our university, and to present in a few words the success story of the first higher education institution in this region, Banat, because, as you know, this year, as our mayor said, in November, we'll celebrate our centenary after 2018, when we celebrated the centenary of Romania, and last year, the centenary of Banat. I will say some words about our history, about our centenary. You could see in the background some images, and it's a short movie about our history. It's interesting how history sometimes makes things fall into place and connect. The great union at the union of Banat with the motherland made the Banat people's aspirations to have a higher education institute possible. On November 11, 1920, His Majesty Ferdinand established the Polytechnic School via royal decree, thus elevating Timisoara to the rank of Civitas Academica. Polytechnica, in turn, has contributed in an exemplary way to the economic, social, and cultural prosperity of Timisoara, Banat, Romania, and even beyond its border for this region. At the beginning of the 20th century, Timisoara was the second most important city in Hungary after Budapest. A Hungarian academician wrote at that time, "The German housewife cooks with flour from Timisoara, the Englishman wears shoes made in Timisoara, the bell produced in Timisoara rings in Romania, the hat from Timisoara reaches France and Belgium, the carriages from Timisoara are sent to Serbia, the child from Bulgaria eats candies produced in Timisoara, and the Egyptian lights his cigarette with a match from Timisoara." For the large capitalist companies managed from Vienna and Budapest, investing in Timisoara presented multiple advantages. Because our mayor insisted on Timisoara, of course, Timisoara advantages, I will not continue to present it. The dream of the people in Banat to have a higher education institute was fulfilled on November 11, as I said, 1920, by King Ferdinand through the signing of the decree of the establishment of the Polytechnic School in Timisoara. A few years later, the monarch would utter the memorable phrase that would become the motto of the university: "It is not the walls that make a school, but the spirit that trains it." In the first year, the Polytechnic School started its activity with only 117 students. In the beginning, as the school did not have its headquarters, it operated with a secretariat within the city hall. After the years, as you could see, we give back the mayor for the city. Here is where the first registration for the candidates and their verification took place in the city hall. From the very beginning, the Timisoara Polytechnic School has created, through the efforts of teachers, strong traditions regarding the permanent connection between school and production, the collaboration between teachers and large economic companies, organization of laboratories for scientific research and practical activity with students, traditions that have been perpetuated and expanded through the entire existence of the university. 1 year after, Traian Lalescu, the first rector, led the first stone at the foundation of this place. Rector Victor Vâlcăvici, in the opening speech of the new academic year, mentioned the existence of two branches, mining metallurgy and electromechanical engineering. In the same year, in 1921, the mathematical magazine in Timisoara was founded and the first issue of the yearbook of the Polytechnic School appeared. 1921, it is also the year when the Sports Students Association was established and it picked the first football team of Politehnica. As you know, in Romania, our football team is well known and during these 100 years had very good results in the first league. After the establishment in 1923 of the Scientific Society of the Polytechnic School, in 1925 the magazine Bulletin Scientific de l'École Polytechnique de Timișoara appeared. In 1927, the first Congress of Engineers graduated of the Polytechnic School was organized. The uncertainties of the interwar period could be overcome primarily by the exceptional quality of the Polytechnica teacher, the vast majority of whom were trained in major European universities. The time of the Second World War was challenging for the Polytechnic School. Director Protus Andonescu had to fight for the school's survival, for keeping its buildings and decent conditions for students and teachers. In those times, however, the dream of one of Polytechnica's famous founders, Professor Victor Vlad, for which he campaigned for almost 20 years, was achieved. The establishment in November 1941 of the Faculty of Civil Engineering, it should be mentioned that due to war conditions, the professor of this faculty did not receive in the first 2 years the salary for the work done. So it was different years with different problems than now. On the anniversary of semi-centenary in 1970, when the university changed its name to the Traian Polytechnic Institute in Timișoara, the institution had 5 faculties, 24 specialization branches, almost 2,000 employees, and over 5,500 students. The range of skills taught was diversified by creating junior engineering, electronics, and architecture specializations. In 1980, the year of its maximum expansion, Traian Polytechnic Institute in Timișoara had 15,000 students, over 850 teachers, almost 300 laboratories, 70 students dormitories with about 9,000 seats and educational spaces and a lot of educational spaces. The last year of the communist regime, marked by economic austerity and stopping investments, and the first year of transition after 1989 led to Polytechnica's slight setback. This period was followed by a new revival, especially after introducing university autonomy, radical restoration of study programs, and the university charter adoption. The university also aligned to European norms in higher education and subsequently adopted the Bologna systems. Now we have already entered the 100 years of our existence. We remember that Rector Victor Vâlcăvici declared on the 25th anniversary in 1945, "It it is necessary to conclude that the Polytechnic School is a viable institution. Hundreds of engineers it graduates have endowed the industry with youthful energies, which is the best certificate that the school can present. 75 years from now, when the centenary of Polytechnica will be celebrated, so this year, these lines will give our descendants a brief idea of the effort that underlies the institution. Perhaps they would signify an appeal and encouragement for those who, in pursuit of a noble goal, would be then in 2020 engaged in the first against the difficulties of their times. After the years, the questions are the same, the answers, of course, are different. So I hope you enjoy this very short history of our university for the first centenary. And because for us, the conference organized this year of our university, by our university, are a special conference one, I want to say that I hope to enjoy these days the auditions, the lectures, the papers, and to enjoy the whole conference organized by our university. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Florin. I think it was interesting for many people to hear something about the history of the university. So thank you very much for your presentation and for the video which has been presented and subtitled in English for everybody. I would just try to add a couple of more words, but not very long. As any university in Europe and everywhere in the world at this time, we also faced some problems due to the sanitary crisis. So we had to switch everything to online. And this includes this conference. We are very grateful that EDEN granted TIMISOARA with the possibility to organize that conference. We didn't thought about it having been online. We hope to have you here, but if this is giving you a little more, let's say, independence, I would like to say that it's raining like hell in TIMISOARA for about 1 week. We have floods all around. So even that normally in this period of a year, it's a very nice period for spending your time in TIMISOARA. This year it wasn't. So maybe we'll be able to give you a taste of TIMISOARA during the good times in the time of the social events during the breaks. But anyway, we'll wait for you later on. Also, I would like to say that we had to develop a platform for hosting online conferences, because there are not so many platforms like that in the world, because traditionally the conferences are held physically for allowing people to network and to discuss. But we hope that you will be able to do also that during the breaks. So thank you very much again for everybody being here. And I would like now to give the floor to the president of EDEN, which is Professor Sandra Kucina-Softic, which is from the University Computing Center, University of Zagreb, Croatia. Sandra is a very involved person in EDEN, also as president, but even before that. So we are counting on her for keeping all the developments in a good way for this conference. Thank you very much, Sandra, and please give us a couple of words from the part of the organization.
Thank you, Radu. Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the EDEN, Honorable Mr. Mayor, Professor Robu, thank you. Honorable Rector of Polytechnica University, Professor Dragan, dear Radu, dear colleagues and friends of EDEN, dear all conference participants. I'm very happy that I'm able to welcome you to the EDEN 2020 annual conference in Timisoara, but only online. But I'm certain that within our social program, you will be able to experience the part of Timisoara. We started this conference planning for being in Timisoara at this moment, and I'm very happy that City of Timisoara University, Polytechnical University Timisoara accepted the hosting of the EDEN Annual Conference, 29th in the row. And I was in March visiting the Timisoara, the very lovely city. I'm certain all of us will very much enjoy. Well, the situation made us to change the way we work, we live, we learn, we cooperate. So today we are all present virtually, but in our hearts in Timisoara. And I'm certain that in social events we will be able to share this Timisoara attitude. The EDEN conference has aimed to gather people, professionals, academics on European level, but on the global level, to join, to collaborate, to share, to experience, to make changes in education and in our society. And it is very important that we were able to organize this conference this year, even in virtual environment. But as EDEN means European Distance and E-Learning Network, so well, maybe we can say that we are moving to our natural environment, being online. I'm very happy that we have such a number of participants and contributions to this year conference. And I'm very certain that we will, through 3 days, experience lots of new ideas, experience and possibilities for collaboration, which will enhance us to be even better in our work as educators, but also as citizens. Definitely the pandemic of COVID-19 influenced all of us in the way we work, in the way we collaborate, in the way we live. And it's not easy to work online, and I'm very sad that we are not able to meet physically today. But also, I think that we can take what's good from the bad. The pandemic enabled us to make some changes, which we planned to do for a long time and still didn't do it. Pandemic enabled us to be more active, to make changes, to go beyond the secure zone which we experienced so far. And I'm certain that today we are not people from before 3 months. And when we are talking about the new normality, that we are aware that going back to what has been possible before March is not actually possible anymore. The uncertainty of a life brought to us by pandemic definitely has to be a message that we shouldn't take anything for granted, and that we should always look how to move forward and how to make things happen, not to wait for them to happen by themselves. Saying that, I think that even more is important this year topic of the conference, which is human and artificial intelligence for the society of the future. So when we were discussing the topic of this year conference, we were not aware of the pandemic that will come across. So I think that this is the really, really good time to discuss how can we use the possibilities of artificial intelligence and information and communication technologies to enhance and improve our society today. This year conference has about 278 delegates from 40 countries, which is very, very good. 25 European countries and 15 non-European countries going actually all over the world. We have 44 paper presentations, 11 workshops, 14 posters and demonstrations, synergy sessions and training sessions, and some special sessions. I'm very happy that some projects decided to have their contributions in this conference as example, Micro AG final conference. Then we have digital culture project also presenting here. I'm very happy that we are having this conference in the year when Polytechnica University of Timisoara is celebrating its 100 years of existence and work. And I'm very certain that next 100 years will be even better. So all my congratulations to Polytechnic University of Timisoara. I think that it is very important for Eden to maintain the identity of momentum of Eden 2020 conference as a major gathering of the European professional community, as well as focusing on the cutting-edge research developments and problems, along with sharing experience and publishing achievements. Eden looks forward to the continued successful collaboration with all members and partners, expressing togetherness and solidarity within our community. And now, let me just share the screen for a few seconds, because I want to let me see. Yes, I want to do something. I want to say that within the Eden we have contributions to our really good members and people who are with Eden for a number of years. And Eden Fellow title is an expression of acknowledgement of professional merit for Eden members who have demonstrated the excellence in professional practice in the field of flexible distance learning and provided valued support to evolution and progress of Eden. This year, Eden Fellow Awards will be awarded actually in the October, when we will have the research workshop in Lisbon, hoping to be there physically all. But I will take this opportunity as we are now in Timisoara, as we are at the Polytechnic University of Timisoara, to award the Eden Fellow Award to Professor Radu Vasiu, President of Polytechnical University of Timisoara, for his long commitment and contribution to Eden. So Professor Vasiu, congratulations.
Thank you very much, Sandra. It was something unexpected. Thank you very much. And we hope to be able to support in the future too the
I will take opportunity to meet you face to face on the first possible occasion and to give you this award.
We are not so far away, so we'll meet somehow. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and at the end of my speech, I would just like to thank the host, Polytechnical University of Timisoara, the e-learning center at Polytechnica University of Timisoara for really being here in all the way, doing lots of things and helping us to ensure that Eden Conference is safely and productively enabled virtually. Also, I would like to thank Conference Program Committee, Eden Executive Committee members, NAP Steering Committee, and the fellow councils of Eden. And I would like to thank to all the authors who contributed so that this year Eden Conference can be and is today. And I wish you all successful 3 days of work, a good collaboration, good ideas, and I'm certain that we will have time to meet physically in the future, if not before, at least at 2021, when Timisoara is European Capital of Culture. So I'm very happy that I can open actually the Eden Annual Conference 2020 and to start with the program. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Sandra. Thank you for the nice words. Thank you for everything, and we hope that this first online conference of Eden will be a success in the final. Thank you very much. And now, before letting Sandra to go to the next step, please allow me to give the floor for a couple of moments to Diana Andone to present some organizational things, technical side, and so on. Diana?
Hello to everybody. I'm Diana Andone. Nice to see you. I would like just briefly to share some induction information for everybody. I hope everybody was able to join the conference and the conference tool and the program and everything. So all the information is also into the EDEN 2020 website, where you will see it's quite visible, also information about how to join the conference, and also the information on how to enter the conference area. Once you enter into the conference area, the first thing you need to log in. If you are a participant to this conference, then you need to log in and you have received your credentials via email. And if not, please check your spam and junk. And even if that doesn't work, please email us. So we will send you the password. It's your email with whom you registered to the conference. That's your connection. Here you have all the program, the speakers, you can connect with them, and you will be able to see the program in your, hours. As you see, for me, it starts at 10 a.m. I'm in Romania, in Timisoara, and we are in the East European Standard Time. So it's already set it up for my time zone, and you can do that very easily from my account and then edit, and you can change your time zone directly from there. You have also tutorial into the EDEN website where you can see that. You will be able to see also in the forum that there are some information which we are going to post here for you. So please read it also this from time to time. We are going to use Twitter a lot, and you can tweet message the EDEN Secretariat if you want some more, and the EDEN conference if you want some more information or some urgent things. Once you are in a session, you enter into a session, then you will be able to see the link for that session. And also you will be able to see information about that paper, who are the authors, and to some of the papers already some presentations or the paper information, and at least you will be able to read the abstract. But we have prepared also some social events for you. We have a virtual networking coffee break with another Zoom link. This Zoom link is going to be valid for all the social events. And here you will be able to chat and to discuss with your fellow colleagues. And also we have prepared a surprise for lunch. During the lunch break, you can have some exercises with mindfulness and stretching with a very good therapist and teacher. She's also just graduated master's degrees in therapy. So you will be able to see also her video and also to join her live for a session. But please don't don't forget that tonight we have the guided tour of Timisoara. We have the Vice Dean of the Faculty of Architecture from our university, Associate Professor Cristian Blidar, and I thank you for this, showing us around Timisoara live. And also during the time, we will put some videos and also some information. And we are going to have some people from the STEAM community coming and doing presentations and speaking and interacting with you. And you will be also allowed to chat. And about the program for tomorrow is going to come later. Thank you.
Thank you, Diana. I will now kindly ask Sandra to make the introduction for the next speech. Thank you very much, and we'll go for the presentations now.
Thank you, Rado. We are starting with actual work now. So I'm very happy that for the opening, we have two keynotes with us. First of them is my dear colleague and friend Diana Andone, Director of E-Learning Center at the Polytechnical University of Timisoara, Romania, in EDEN Vice Presidents. Diana Andone is responsible for planning and implementing digital technologies, online learning technologies, and a university award-winning virtual campus. She is also Associate Professor at the university in the area of multimedia, interactive and web technologies. Since 1998, she teaches course module in the universities from UK, France, USA, Finland, Italy, and Greece. She holds a PhD in designing learning e-learning spaces for digital students with Brighton University. And she has extensive research experience with many publications, over 17 books, 100 research papers, 11 Best Papers Awards, and over 30 research and educational projects mainly funded by the European Commission. Diana is passionate about the ubiquitous access to technologies and how they can be used to improve people's life. Actively promotes the use of OER, MOOCs, and open education principles, training for digital skills. She's acting in international associations, besides Eden in IEEE, AACE, EADIS, EIFS, supports startup movements, and Girls in Tech, Women in Tech, and STEM education. She also acts in the board of Romanian NGO and TIMISOARA 2021 European Capital of Culture Task Force and in other voluntary organizations. Diana serves as Eden Vice President for Communication and Communities and Education Chair in IEEE Romania section. And I'm very happy she is on my board during my presidency. So Diana, I'm giving floor to you for your speech on digital education in Polytechnica University of Timisoara. So please, floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Sandra. I hope everybody is able to join us, and either online here or on YouTube. And I will start directly with the presentation, as we are a tiny bit late. And I apologize if I will go a bit too fast for this, because I'm just trying to be as short as possible during this time. So obviously, I would like to speak about digital education in my university. This is the rectorate building. You've seen some of these images into the video which our rector has shown. Our university celebrates 100 years, and my center celebrated 2 years ago, 20 years of existence. And I'm very happy to say that the mayor was the first director of the e-learning center. So it's a long-lasting collaboration between us. So mainly the question to which I'm trying to answer now is, if the university ready for digital transformation? Are we fit for the future? Can we really move to a world where the digital is the lead and where we can use digital wisely, so successfully and effectively? So I will say what we have done in our university, and also share what is my concept which stands behind all the preparation which we have done probably in the last 10, 15 years. So basically, this is how I see the things. I say that first you do digitization, then you move to digitalization, and then to digital transformation. And all of this is part of the UPT digital education. So first, the digitization. Here you have mainly the tools. You need to have the tools to be able to start the digitization. We call this core. So this is the core of the digital education, the tools, and also how you create and how you are able to use those tools. So it's also content and skills. And those which were able to use this from 15, even 20 years ago, they are called the early adopters, and there are plenty of them. And I will speak a tiny bit about them later. So what we call into this core is obviously a learning management system, but also degree and curriculum management, the attendance monitoring, the learning experience, a MOOC platform, which you are going to see, the website of the e-learning center and the digital education website, and obviously the social media channels. The virtual campus obviously built up on Moodle, started in 2006. Initially, our university used in-house development for a learning environment, and also the WebCT for those who are still remembering that software. And this is how it looked in 2017. And later you will be able to see some photos, some images, sorry, how it looks now. So it was a constant development and a continuous work. And I thank a lot the team of the developers around the virtual campus, which we call it the CV UPT. And we have also a mobile application, which is very successful, especially among our students. But this was built through a different kind of project, which was constantly supported through projects via European Union or national projects. One which is very dear to our heart is the Virtual Campus for Digital Students, a project which was building up, firstly, the idea of Web 2.0 and the use of open educational resources and virtual mobilities in our university. And then, obviously, Unicampus, which is our first Romanian MOOC, which we started developing since 2014. And there are several courses there and more than 2,000 people online. We mainly put there, beside of some introductory courses, also all of our workshops and trainings and guidelines, what we make for free for everybody to be able to use. And this is, for example, how inside of one of the courses it looks like, and also you can see how some statistics looks in a video which was produced some years ago even. Digitization is also part of the content and skills. You cannot have digitization if you don't train the people and if you don't build up content. We've done this over 25 projects, which also Sandra mentioned, funded by European Union, but also in relations with United States, China, and Canada. And all of this gathered inside the university over 8 million euros over the time. This is the beginning in 1998 at the Open University and also at the Fern Universität in Germany. Some very young people around here, including the mayor and Radu. So, and also me. I want to see who can recognize me. I'm the only woman in some of the photos, so I'm quite easy to be recognized. And this is how it looks much later. So we have been doing development with 54 universities, with 36 companies, 27 NGOs, and we are partnering 4 international associations. Another project which really built up the skills into our university, and not only, also in other 12 universities in Romania, was the EDTECH, a national project with almost €1.5 million funding, where we train over 1,200 academics, and they develop courses in for online learning, for blended learning, using Web 2.0 technology, and also using and creating open educational resources. In Polytechnica University, we have 300 UPT academics, and we call them the early adapters. Then recently, we had the ABC2VLE Erasmus Plus project. This was able to let us introduce the new concept of the learning design, which is also by creating a lot of tools and showing how we can support and what they are good for in the concept of learning design. For this, we created a lot of guidelines and guides, which are available also free online under the Creative Commons license for everybody to use, and they were quite used by the Romanian universities. The other one is a lot of workshops, conferences. We've been doing since 2013 a series, in fact, 2-4 per year, workshops, either about opening up education or about digital competencies, and obviously about girls in tech, and also hosting international conferences. I need to say to our workshops, we had more than 500 unique participants. So we've been able to spread the word about opening up education, about digital competencies, and what digital education stands for. Obviously, we needed to develop content. We developed content even with labs. So we had lab views and also automated, tools and information which were able to get into the lab and to be able to use the lab during that time. And obviously, we've been using a lot of videos with explanation and with H5P tools on top of them to be able to show something more. We created quite a lot of new resources during this year. So this was part of the digitization. The other is digitalization. So building the digital education ecosystem, and you can do this better by collaboration and using co-creators. And for this, we've been doing, a belief, in fact, which we built up over the years, that we need to build up the open lifelong learning student for the future. And we really need to do this. And to be able to do this, we needed to create a different structure of assignments, of teaching, of infrastructure, and even of content delivery, of knowledge, of learning experience for our students. And for this, we created guides and we created a lot of information. And we started doing this, in fact, since 2015. So how we've done it, there are different possibilities. First, we put people into the MOOCs, either ours, or we inform them how they can include other MOOCs or open educational resources into their courses. And also we created virtual mobilities. So the MOOCs is clearly a blended learning flipped classroom model, which we kept speaking over the years about this. We've done a lot of research about the effectiveness of it, so I will not go over this. The other one is how to create co-creators, how to build up students as co-creators. And we came up with this from the assignments. And this is a long-standing, use in our university. Even when I was a student many, many years ago, some of the projects which I've done during my engineering studies were projects which were used later on into the lab or into the companies. But what we made more available is some guidelines on how to be able to create real artifacts, which then can be adapted each year and which can carry on the open educational resources concept and also the Creative Commons licenses. And for this, we created students as co-creators of knowledge and of learning experience. And obviously, we done a lot of research on how to do this. The evaluation is always very, very positive for the students, even if they consider it that it's very difficult for them, that they need to learn more, that sometimes they need to use even 16 different tools to be able to create their assignments, but they really enjoy it and they publish quite a lot of them. Some of the best ones manage to publish papers at conferences or at workshops, and they get some recognition for the work which they've done in the past. There are some examples of the OERs which were created only in the last year, for example. And this is one which is also done in cooperation with the Medical University from TIMISOARA, from our colleagues from the Computer Science faculty, where is also a demo in Unity, virtual reality, about how to learn about the human skeleton, for example. So this was digitalization. Now it's also virtual mobilities. Since 2008, with my colleague Mark Friedenberg from Bentley University, we've been running international virtual mobilities. For this, we paired students from Romania and from Boston together, 2 and 2, usually in groups of 4, to build up an artifact. So they created, in fact, OERs and knowledge, which was later used either in courses or in the last 2-3 years for our cities, to become a smart city or to be Timisoara European Capital of Culture. There are a lot of validity which you can build up in virtual mobilities, especially over such, a long period of time. So we learned a lot on how to do this. And here, for example, is one of the examples which I told you that is used for Timisoara, and you will be able to test this a tiny bit in the afternoon today. Obviously, then we had an Erasmus Plus project, Open Virtual Mobility, which is going to be presented also in a paper tomorrow. And here we created 24 courses to get ready for virtual mobilities together with our colleagues from 6 different countries and under the lead of Birth University from Berlin. And we built up credentials to organize and to recognize the virtual mobility skills, which is quite important nowadays. So this was our idea about enables and creating the digital education ecosystem. So what did this mean? This meant for us that we were somehow ready to move completely the whole university into remote education. This allowed us to move quite quickly in 13th of March, in fact, without losing any day since the emergency state was put into action by the Romanian government to move online. Until then, only 3 faculties from the universities were fully into the university virtual campus, also with courses, exams, and so on. And they were also using some sort of video conferencing for some of their presentation and some lectures, but not the rest up to 10 faculties. So we had a lot of stress and a lot of work to put everybody online and to build up methodologies, guides, training, and support for this. Obviously, we were using a mixture of the virtual campus of UPT and the video conferences tool which the university has at their disposal. And we built up an entire system and guidelines on how to do students' evaluation and their finals, because including their final diploma work and everything is now delivered online in our university. And this is how nowadays the virtual campus looks like. And we are in the process of evaluating this entire process, what we've been doing now with questionnaires, with staff, and also with students. We done one quite immediately after we gone into the emergency state to see exactly what is the need, and now we want to see what we've done well or not. Here you can see that we moved now to 80 million hits in total over this academic year, which is a huge increase in our virtual campus for the last previous years. And also in terms of resources, you are able, and activities, you are able to see a large increase in the activities. I'm very glad to see that a lot of other type of activities, not only files and lecturing and information is there. As I mentioned, there are some lab views and some interactive things. There are a lot of videos with interaction on them. There are a lot of glossary and wikis which are integrated into the virtual campus. And this is how the structure looks like in terms of access of all of our users. It's quite obviously when it was our day of Easter, how much we dropped in during the 2 days of Easter, which wasn't usually the case. But it wasn't, as I said, to build up a digital education ecosystem, you don't build up only tools and content. You need to do also skills and continuous support. So we've done 38 trainings and support webinars, about 43 hours, plus a lot of tutorials for our students, which were also for our students and our professors. There were more than 43 tutorials, and I'm so glad that over 40% of them were created by students. The students in master degree of instructional design, they were able to do all of this work and to see it recognized. It was such a joy for them to see that their peers and professors are using the work which they done. And 15% of our work was also done with UPT colleagues, those which I called you that they were the early adopters, which now became enablers of digital education. We had quite a lot of work to support everybody with questions and so on, and messages which were over the time. So we've been able to build up nowadays something which we move to digital transformation. In my view, digital transformation is a tiny bit more than being just digital education. It means changes in the academic culture. It means changes how you see things. We've been doing mostly sort of blended learning in the last 10 years in our university. Recently we moved to what we call it remote education. But to really become a fully digital transformed education university, that means that we need to do the learning transformation, we need to adapt fully to this and to do some changes into academic culture and to create what I call the digital leaders. To build up this, I think we are already there, and I will say why, because reflecting over I was able in the last weekend, in fact, to reflect a tiny bit of what happened in this wild world of the last 3 months. I've been able to see that this is already somehow happening. And why? Because we started running these together online webinars with the same name as Eden was running the webinars on Monday. Ours were in every Wednesday. We were involving until now 11 universities and 4 very large student organizations into this. We've done this with IEEE and with Eden Association in a partnership, and we had a lot of participants. More than 2,200 unique participants took part in our webinars. Almost half of them took part in almost 90% of them. So they missed only one. So we had a very high rate of attendance to our webinars and also to the guides and the information which is on our website. So I can say that I can see now there is an academic culture change towards a digital transformation, not only in my university, but also in our colleagues from other universities and also from the high school areas in Romania. We built up also together online open badges. We've been able to award more than 2,200 badges until now in these 10 webinars which we're running. We plan to continue with them from September. We took a break for the summer, and we hope that they are going to be even more successful. Obviously, as I mentioned initially, you need to have a very powerful website and a very powerful social media presence to be able to really call that you are doing digital education and moving towards digital transformation. And for this, we built up areas on our website where there is a lot of free information and a lot of guides and data and methodologies and tutorials, quite a lot of them, which everybody find. Now, I would like to briefly go to the closure to something which one of our UPT professor wrote to us in the middle, I think it was in May. I need to say he was a digital reluctant professor, and he said something which was very, touching for us. We've been very impressed by this meaning, and I really hope that this will mean that we can move really to a more powerful digital learning transformation. So this is the idea of what we have built over the last 10, 15 years in my university. As I said, it takes time. It never happening immediately. And you need to be able to create it from the grassroots. This was our policy. We started with core, skilling, content, and then we built up the strategy and to create the full ecosystem. And I would like to say also that my advice is to try to be different. And because we are all facing the same situation worldwide, and maybe we are going to the autumn also in either a blended learning or a fully online learning, keep still, please renovate the core and explore the new. This is my main message. And because you are never as good only as your team, please let me show you what the e-learning center means to all of us. So these are the distance education courses which we run in 20 years in our university. Yes, so thank you very much. These are my credentials. And as I said, this is the team. You've seen it also in the photo, which was taken to my 50th birthday party, which is the only time when we are all in the same room, which is very difficult sometimes, or virtually in the same room. Thank you, everybody. And thank you to my team also for supporting the EDTECH conference so much during these quite difficult times. Thank you, everybody. And if there are questions, there's still time for that. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Diana, for a very impressive presentation and how you managed to squeeze it so quickly. I fully understand what you have been through because I'm heading the e-learning center in Croatia, so we have similar activities and similar issues. What I would like to stress is that importance of support to teachers and continuous professional development of teachers teachers is something which is very important. And thanks to the Polytechnic University Timisoara on vision that it's such center as which one you are leading is important, and investing in technology and people, you were able to move so quickly into online. But just one question, do you think that now that things are getting a little bit better, a teacher will go back to the way they were doing things before, or they will stay and try to improve? What is your opinion?
I'm pretty sure not. Based on the evaluation which we've done, for example, for the webinars online together with so many people from Romania, more than 60% of them said that they will continue to use extensively, because we asked them how much. In fact, everybody said that they are going to use digital tools and the digital education environment, but quite a lot of them said that they are going to use it extensively. We are curious what the result is going to be for our university, which we'll probably get in about 10 days or 2 weeks' time, the final. But I'm pretty sure not. This is why I call it's going to the digital transformation. It's a change already in the academic culture, and I can say this is probably valid for other countries and other universities, that this is good. There are also pitfalls, and don't get me wrong, it's a lot of work which you need to do and to sustain, and you need to be very careful, because some people don't have so advanced digital skills. You need always to let them have another option. Some students, we have a strong digital divide in some areas of Timisoara. In fact, for me and for Radu, we moved in half an hour from home to our office in the university without no power, because suddenly we were left without electricity. So what can you do? So this happened to anybody, anywhere, in fact. And this is the situation for which we need to take care of. We need to think as leaders, as a society, so we can be for sure that everything what we build to build up this digital education, transformation and ecosystem are really available and inclusive for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Diana. We have to go on, so I will not ask you any questions now, but please look in the chat. You have a question from Andres, so you can answer this one, and please look at the question and answers. So I'm certain that after this plenary session, there will be chance as well to talk to keynotes as well. So thank you, Diana. Let's move to the next presentation. I'm happy to have Martin DOUGIAMAS today with us. The guilty one for the Moodle, I would say, I would call him, because he enabled us to move so quickly from face-to-face blended to fully online, because we mostly, all of us are using the Moodle as a system. His presentation today is Connected Pedagogy, Learning and Teaching in Digital Age. And I'm certain that lots of you know Martin already, because he's the founder and CEO for Moodle. He continues to guide and grow the enterprise with the support of 80 employees globally and 2 major offices in Australia and Barcelona, Spain. And if I'm correct, you are today with us from Australia, Perth, Martin, yes. So Moodle, lots of us, many of us know about Moodle, is the best known product allowing educators to create a private space online filled with tools for collaborative learning for K-12, higher education and workplace. And first released in 2001, Moodle today is used in every country around the world by an active community of hundreds of millions of users in key infrastructure for over 60% of all higher education institutions worldwide. Well, this is about the tool. About Martin, he has a mixed academic background with multiple postgraduate degrees in computer science and education and 2 honorary doctorates. He continues to focus on researching how to open education technology can best support teaching and learning in open and human ways, with a keen interest in helping to produce a generation that can meet the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Recently, Martin has started a new initiative, Open EdTech Global, which he hopes will encourage open source companies to work collaboratively to provide complete, high-quality, ethical, lasting education technology solutions to power educations in the future. So, Martin, floor is yours. What about connected pedagogy?
Thank you, Sandra. Thank you, Eden, and everyone for inviting me. Real pleasure to be here. I've just had a cold, actually, which, you know, immediately now when you get a little cold, you go and get tested for COVID, but it wasn't. It was just a cold, so I may cough a little bit. I have half an hour to talk about everything. A lot of things are happening where I sit, and often if I don't talk about this or that, people are like, oh, why don't you talk about this or that? So I'm going to cover a bunch of things, but hopefully hit the right note for what we need today. So I'm just going to share my screen here. And that should be full screen, yeah? Okay. You can always reach me at Moodler on most social, Twitter mostly, if you need me. And I'll have my email at the end. So the Moodle mission is, as always, it's about empowering educators. We really focus on educators. And I want to be very specific here that while it's all educators, our primary focus is on formal education systems. So schools and universities, and we really want to try and help improve the world, and I'll dig into that as well. The way we're doing that, the way we're helping, is by trying to produce the most effective platform for learning, which has a lot of pieces to it. And we're very values driven. This is not a company that is trying to make profits. This is a company driven by these values and operates as a non-profit. In fact, we're just registering as a B corporation to cement that in stone. And if I can mix my metaphors. And yeah, so we're very values driven. We're very much trying to help the world organizations that are already there to do their job better. So let's talk about 2020, where we are now. This is the Moodle project where it is now. And I like to divide them up into three main areas. Tools, we all need tools to do things. Resources, because we need resources to use the tools. Tools alone will not work by themselves. We need resources to drive them. And we need skills. The skills are the actual knowledge and the people that to drive tools and resources. So let me cover a little summary about what's happening in all those areas at the moment. So the main Moodle thing that everyone usually talks about is what we call the Moodle LMS, the Learning Management System. And as Sandra said, it's quite widespread in the world. These are statistics from January, and you can see different continents there. North America is where there's the most, or the least Moodle, and more other things, but in the rest of the world, Moodle's quite the standard. This is what registered sites looks like today, about 166,000 sites, organizations. And as you can see, billions of quiz questions and billions of enrollments and hundreds of millions of users. And these are just the registered sites. That number, 166,000 there, that was 100,000 in February. And that's the kind of growth that the Moodle project has seen just in the past few months due to COVID. And at its peak, these are UNESCO statistics, we had just over 91% of all of the enrolled learners in the world were out of school quite suddenly, as we know. A very global problem. Huge e-learning was just suddenly swamped. And you can just imagine from where I am running a company of 80 people, we were contacted by everybody at once. And it was quite a difficult time trying to cope. Our free services were overwhelmed. We had just projects happening everywhere. We were contacted and working with the World Bank and UNESCO, in India, in Argentina, and in Africa, in the West, in Greece, in the US, and all over the place. So there were projects, and some of these projects, or many of them, are actually full ministry rollouts. So a whole country deciding, oh, we're going to suddenly put all of our schools onto online. And almost impossible situation. And some of the deadlines were like, oh, by Monday, please. So yeah, it's been a very, very busy time. What I've seen in that rush is a lot of bad decisions being made. It's very natural if you haven't been doing online learning before to think, okay, I'm going to take what I was doing in the classroom and just do that online. And so a lot of people jumped onto Zoom. Here we are in Zoom now, or other video conferencing packages, and they tried to replicate classrooms. And quite predictably, if you look at some of the writing about it, there's a lot of tiredness and frustration from teachers, from students, from organizations, and there was just a lack of knowledge. Here at Moodle, and I guess with a lot of the people watching this, we have 10 or 20 years of experience. I did distance education when I was a kid 40 years ago. In Australia, we've had distance education running for 100 years, actually. In the early days, they were delivering things by horseback, and then later on, radio and other methods. So there's all this experience which wasn't being used and applied in the rush. And I see now there's a shift towards, okay, let's rethink or let's reinvent, in some cases, things that were known by the industry and by the community. And we are starting to rethink how to do things in a better, proper way. And I really want to use this opportunity to think globally about what kind of infrastructure do we need to do this properly, and not in this kind of bitsy way that we are doing it now, because it's only one little planet. So I'll get to that. So a little bit of an update of what's happening in the Moodle world. Moodle 3.9 just released last week. There's some course creation improvements, including H5P. There's integration with other platforms such as MoodleNet and Safe Exam Browser. We did a lot of work on accessibility, which means making Moodle work for people who are blind or have other disabilities. And so a pretty normal release for us with a bunch of new features and improvements. On top of that, we have a Moodle community with 1,600 plus plugins by 1,000 or so developers who are building on top of the Moodle platform and making like apps, basically, and experiment. This is innovation happening globally, where people are creating new tools to add to courses and be part of that learning environment. So there is an issue right now in Moodle in that you can't easily use those plugins because, as a teacher, you need to install them as an administrator, and many administrators of a university are not going to install lots and lots of plugins because it brings maintenance. We have a solution for that, and we have a new Moodle plugin service coming next year. It's intended to be next year, which will allow those plugins to be used on any Moodle site without installing code. And it's a kind of a service that makes it look like it's part of your Moodle course, but actually it's running on a different machine, on a service in the cloud. And yeah, so just something to look out for. And the other big thing to talk about here is Moodle 4.0. So instead of a 6-monthly release, we're actually taking 18 months. We have an enormous UX, user experience focus on this. We have a new UX team with a lead who I'm very, very happy with. Her name is Candice Dima. She is leading a UX process, which will take a few months to identify what are the most needed user experience improvements. You can all be involved. So there'll be a new area on Moodle.org where you can be up to date on all the surveys, the workshops, the various activities and gathering that's going on. And by the end of next year, we hope to have a Moodle 4.0 that is radically different in some ways. It will still be very compatible. It will still support all the things it could do, but the experience should be a lot easier, a lot more natural, and especially for new teachers, it should lead them into the knowledge of creating online courses a lot better. So yeah, it's very, very exciting time for us to be having the time to step back and work on that. We have our app, of course. Our app is very popular, and for students, it does 100% of the features, so students can just live in the app. My own children study on Moodle, and they like to use the app with their school, so that's I watch them, I study them, I get their feedback, and you know, it's pretty good. We also have an app for desktops as well. I'm going to go a bit through quickly because I know these are not too interesting, but Moodle has a Moodle Workplace version as well. And this is a version that is specific for organizational learning or training inside a large organization. And it has some extra features that are not yet in the main Moodle LMS. They will eventually all come into LMS over time. But right now, if you need them, you can get them straight now as Moodle Workplace. And it has a very nice, clean new feel. Some of the UX work is already being done here and is already happening, and it's getting very great feedback from the community. Moodle Cloud is our service for offering very, very free or cheap Moodle sites. We have around 60,000 Moodle sites here, and it's busy. We're now talking to everybody more there and asking what they need and refining the kind of offering that's there to make it simpler, but mostly simpler and more focused for what people need. Now, I'm a very strong believer that projects should be sustainable. Relying on limited government funding, like, you know, grants, it helps. If you can guarantee continued grants, then fine. But if you can't guarantee there's continuation of grants, it puts projects at risk. And I'm all for governments funding good stuff, but we've had to build a business here to support Moodle, and it's around services. And people paying for services to our Moodle partners, their 10% comes and pays for all this Moodle stuff. That's how we make all this. Our newest project is MoodleNet. It's a social network for educators, and it's not launched yet. We're still in the final stages. We've had a bit of a problem this month, in that we lost most of our team suddenly, but we're building up a new team. This is a very, very important missing piece of the puzzle. If you're a new teacher and you're looking at a blank screen, a blank course, and you don't know how to teach online yet, yes, you can do training, and you can. There's many ways to learn about it, but one good way would be to find other teachers who are teaching the same subject at the same level. Be able to talk to them in your own language, and also to share best practice. If they already had a whole course that was like the one you needed, this would be ideal. You could just get it, and then you have a course, and now you can play with it and make it your own. Or even just resources and individual tips or tricks. This is a social network that's meant to be about joining educators, curating these collections of resources, and building up your own profile as an educator in a global way. This could be happening on LinkedIn, it could be happening on Facebook, it could be happening on Twitter, but those environments are not really the best places to build a recommended educational network. There is no single place like that yet, so that's why we started building MoodleNet. And it looks a bit like this. There is a presentation later this afternoon in one of the workshops where I can talk more about that. Moodle education. This is the framework, the certification framework that actually comes from the European Union. It's called DigCompEdu, and there are 22 competencies that they identified as being really important to online teaching. This is the missing information that the new teachers coming online this year that they didn't have. They didn't have these skills. We need to work together to give those skills to all educators who are teaching online, which means all educators. So we've done our part. We've tried to turn this into a full course and a certification. When you take that course, obviously using Moodle, but they're quite generic skills and competencies. It takes about 48 hours work, consistent work of learning to work your way through these 22, to prove and demonstrate these 22 competencies. and you get a certificate from us. And we are opening this up soon to be something that you could actually run in your own institution. So we're calling it MEC Direct, and we'll license all of our content and everything to you, and you can teach your own teachers using the structure we've made, which has taken a lot of work. It's about 2 years' work. So yeah, that's coming. We also have a lot of conferences, or we used to have a lot of conferences. There's kind of stopped a bit lately. So what we're doing next month is we're having an online conference, much like this one where we're at. We're trying to do it in a very new way. The site is based on a heavily modified, customized Moodle, and we're using a variety of different technologies for interaction and social activities as well. So you're welcome to come. Now, the second part was like, what does this all look like in the future? Let's say 2030, 10 years away. Where are we going? What should we be doing? What should we be working on? Let's talk about the future of not just education, but the world. Where is the world going? Because education needs to meet that world. Well, the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals from UNESCO, I'm sure you're aware of, these 17 big problems that we should be working on as a planet, as a species. There are big problems in our current environment. Everything is shrinking suddenly. So people are impacting each other across borders, across countries, across cultures, and we are suddenly all in each other's village together. There's more data everywhere, and there's a lot of fake data as well as real data. Artificial intelligence is creating more data as well. We are more and more reading things that are created by robots. Those do not have to be true. And the amount of information we're all experiencing is just insane now. It's too much. Corporate influence is becoming stronger. I guess it was always there, but now it's more transparent. We have governments that are directly affected by corporate needs, and they control infrastructure, often key pieces of infrastructure. And so they influence our communication, they influence government. All these complex issues, we are all struggling. 8 billion people are struggling to make sense of what's going on in the world right now. And we're all feeling it. I know all of you are feeling it. You are tuning in. It becomes very, very much a case of choosing your own digital diet, right? What am I going to read? What's my feed that I'm choosing to consume? Who am I subscribing to? Who am I reading and who am I not reading? And that selection process is something that many people do not do very intentionally. They just kind of follow and follow and follow, and they get led. It's easy to be led, and that leads us into a lot of some of the troubles that are happening. So education for me is about helping people be more conscious of this, to focus on the quality of education, to make better decisions in this environment, decisions that are positive for themselves and for people around them. This is an example that isn't about quality. This is a newspaper article from last week here in Australia, where the Australian government has changed the funding to make humanities degrees much more expensive. It now costs as much to get any humanities degree or an arts degree as a medical degree, despite the fact that arts degrees don't use as many resources and they don't have all those expensive teaching hospitals and all that stuff, right? So it's very clearly an ideological shift by a current government to shift education's profile. And that's a corporate controlled thing, because if you look at all the reasons they give, what they're trying to do is drive jobs. They're driving employees. They're trying to make workers to work for particular companies. Why? And when you dig into it, it's not about creating a better world of citizens. It's not about creating people who understand the world are able to vote in a democracy because they understand all the issues, because they can make good decisions. It's about making people who are workers who, will fill the slots. So what I would like to see universities, the direction of universities go instead, and schools, is towards modelling a better world. Universities and schools are where all the research is. And yet, in most universities, research and teaching are kept apart. You have the researchers, even in education technology, for example, the researchers of education technology who are studying really nice new ways to do education, they do not control the education technology of the institution. Those students are not part of that work. And that's just one field. What about energy? What about democracy? What about law? What about all the things that humans need to know? That's stuff we could be doing in a university. So that's my opinion. Now, I hear a lot of, this is impossible, right? Government funding, and there's blocks, we can't do this. But if we don't work it out, if we don't shift this direction as a society, then these big companies are going to run our life for us. And they do to an extent already. And whether their motivations are good or not is kind of irrelevant, because it might be good today, but it might be bad tomorrow. Because of the way they work with boards that are driven by profits, they will go wherever the money is, and they will do whatever generates the most cash, and for a few people. And so they're not really working for the future of the planet. They're not working for us as such. They're separate from us, and they're using us to make money. It's a problematic situation for education. So how do we fix it? Let me offer you a quick solution in the few minutes I've left. We need to get the educators and the students in every field working and learning together. Research and teaching brought together. We can do that with openness and communities. And I have an example. This is how Moodle works. Moodle, the project, if you were to sit down and make Moodle again from zero, it would probably cost you about 70 million euros. That's how much effort has gone in. And that effort has come from the community, from a lot of people who've all contributed through an open source and open methods and a transparent project. So we know it can work. We look at Linux that runs the world. We look at all the open source examples that really do work. We know it can work. We should be doing this more in education. So back to this diagram, these are the Moodle, the tools, the resources and skills. What could it look like in 10 years? Well, in the tools, let's talk about open education technology. In the resources, let's talk about open education resources, OER. And in skills, a system that doesn't quite exist yet, but it was nice to hear Diana talking about it a bit earlier, was this recognition through badges and training that's geared towards that. So everyone can be doing training all around the world, but in some sort of a framework so that it's transferable, so that it's understandable. If somebody comes to you and says, I can help you with that task, you should be able to easily see their skills. They should be able to easily prove their skills to you, not through a 3-month trial period, but because, oh, here, I have all this recognition of my skills and I can prove it to you. So very quickly, I'll talk about these three. Open EdTech. So this is the core idea that education should be able to own their infrastructure, not just rent it. When you use Google, Amazon, you're renting. They're a landlord, you pay rent. When you stop paying rent, you can't use that anymore. If they want to take it away from you, they can take it away because they own that stuff. Where with open education technology, you own it too. No one can take it away. It's a very important concept because when you own your own thing, you are more likely to make it work for you. You can put the investment into your own property to make it a better thing. We have a lot of people supporting this concept, Open EdTech. There's a few brands, companies and institutions and researchers and organizations here. There is a website where you can find out a bit more, openedtech.global. And again, we're talking about this in the workshop this afternoon. And I'll stop on that. The second thing, open education resources, huge amount of work being done in pieces all around. The biggest thing ever to happen to this field happened last year in November, when after 5 years, there was a UNESCO OER recommendation that recommended, and these things don't come easily. This is a unanimous decision amongst all the countries of the world, except the US, because that's where the big publishers are. Also, they're not part of UNESCO. They decided these are the focus points. This is what all countries should be focusing on. And it's basically supporting the development of OER. They should be developing policy, building capacity. They should be encouraging inclusive and equitable quality OER, creating sustainability models for OER, facilitating international cooperation. This is amazing. This is tremendous stuff. This is the whole world deciding, yes, open education resources are the way forward. So if we all help keep our governments honest and remind them, hey, you signed up for this, you should be pushing and supporting this, we can have a world with a lot more open education resources. Open Badges is about the skills. So Open Badges is the only really viable standard in the area. Unfortunately, there's no infrastructure around it. When people come and ask me for a job, if we have a job opening and I get applicants, I can't press a button and see all their badges and trust them. I can't say, oh, they're all digitally signed by the university in TIMISOARA, and be able to see and trust all that information. And even better, I mean, I would like to use a computer program to analyze a lot of people's badges and find the best person for this role that we need. Things like that. There's no infrastructure yet, so there's a lot of work to do. And once we do that work, though, and build that technology, we can have a situation where we can have a very, very, very strong global open education-based system with these open source tools that work together with resources supported by the nations and in a very open way, and with skills that are globally transferable and connected, and it all fits together. So a bit of a dream, but why shouldn't we build it? This is what we need. If we had this in 2020, we wouldn't be talking about an education crisis right now, because it would all be done. This is the sort of thing we need to make the world a better place. And so I think I'd love everyone to help join in and help where you can on any of these projects. I'll stop there. If you need to email me, martin@moodle.com, and thank you for the opportunity to speak to you, and I'll see you also at the workshop this afternoon.
Thank you, Martin. Thank you so much for this inspiring presentation and making us all feeling better, hoping that we will do something to change the world and that it will become a better place. We are always hoping the world become a better place. Well, but still we have lots of challenges in front of us to achieve that. I don't plan to ask my questions because there are a few of them already in a question and answer session. So we have, for example, question from Anna Grabowska. She says she has got 80 plus students, and may she involve them in testing for a Moodle?
Of course, it's all completely open. Just keep an eye on moodle.org. We're going to announce all of that so you can get involved very early. But we are always open. You can always download preview versions of everything because it's all in the open.
Okay. Next one is from Don Olcott. Martin, great presentation. Open source LMS means the institution must provide support of the platform and students, unlike proprietary providers like B or D2L, which provide some services. Do have an average cost and number of staff needed by an institution to provide this support effectively to support Moodle?
Well, running any infrastructure takes effort, and most of the effort is not the technology itself, it's the people and the training and the organization and all that maintenance of stuff. Yes, you do need to put resources towards important things, and to get to your question, Moodle does have services just like anything else. That's our Moodle partners. We have 100 companies around the world that do those services. So if you want to outsource it, you can. The important difference is because you own your installation, not renting it, that's not your only option. You also have the option to do it in-house. And if you want to do it yourself in your own in-house, then you will need to hire, have people who spend time on maintaining things and doing that work. It's hard to say how much. It depends on the needs. But I'm sure there are people in Eden who can help with that question.
Yeah, well, there's a question from Juwang Zilas. He says, will there be an offline option for Moodle in future for students in areas where internet connection is not good, which is very important?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's the big focus for us. Moodle has the best offline solution. So, this is the Moodle app. It works the best because they just need a phone or a tablet or a laptop. It will connect to the Moodle site, download everything onto the device, and then they work with it here. And next time they have internet, it will synchronize back to the Moodle site. These devices make all that synchronization much easier because you can control your internet and then so on as you want. And Moodle is used in remote areas everywhere, in Africa, in Middle East, in Asia, Australia, everywhere.
Okay, and maybe the last question from Oriol Boras Gene. Well, he asked, can we have an invitation to test MoodleNet?
Yeah. Well, soon you will. We're having first a small group because I want to fill the first site with some good content. We want there to be educational content in there so that when the second wave of people comes, they can already see and feel how it's going to feel. There are some technical issues as well that still need to be fixed. So we're working on that, and yeah, it'll be more about that in the next workshop as well. But we'll get to that.
Okay. Thank you, Martin. I think that other questions can reach you afterwards or during the workshop you have with Diana on Open EdTech. I'm inviting everyone now to join the coffee break so you can discuss even with the speakers there. So thank you again, Martin, for being with us today and during this conference. I'm inviting all the participants to join us in the chat virtual coffee break part, and then we will start with the program. Let me see. The program is at 10:45 or 9:45 or what, 10:45 Central Eastern time. So you have about 15 minutes for coffee break, I presume. So see you later.